Alright, so I've blown pretty much most of the dust out. Any stuff that's left behind is to the point where it's going to need to be wiped off, which is a really thin layer, as you can see. Well, you may not be able to see that, but I'll do that later. But what I want to show you is some common failure issues with these units. One common thing that people will have happen is you will power on the unit and they will hear a grinding noise. Usually what that grinding noise is this here. This is a worm gear, and this is what drives the laser back and forth on these rails. And basically what you have here is a little arm with teeth in it, so that when this spins, it pulls this along, and so thus it pulls the laser mech up and down the tracks. Now, most units, this is made out of metal. So you can bend it down and kind of, you know, get it to work again. Unfortunately, as you can see on this one, this is all plastic. So if this unit were doing that, which it's not, that would not work. You're done. You need a new laser mech, basically, because this is worn out and you can't bend it down because this one is all plastic, but some of them are metal. Also, you may want to grease this ever so slightly, just a little bit of grease, and I'll show you that in a minute along with the rails. If for some reason you do need to remove this whole unit, basically all you need to do is remove these two screws, which allows you to lift these two rails up and out, and then you can get the laser off and replace it, clean it, or whatever. Now, on the bottom of this laser unit are two potentiometers that you can adjust. Basically, you would be increasing the gain on the lasers, which, in my opinion, if you have to do that, it's just probably time to go ahead and just replace the unit, because increasing that gain is just going to shorten the life even more of that laser, and it's just, I mean, you're just putting a band-aid on it, so you might as well just replace it at that point. But usually we can get these things working again just by cleaning them. And to start that off, we just really need to remove this plastic piece here. So I am just going to get a flathead screwdriver, and it's just got some plastic tabs holding it in, and just lift up, just lift that up. There we go, and pull that guard out basically. Now this is where it gets tricky. So you've got your lens here, but underneath all of this right here is a whole other lens. And this is really tricky. As you can see, this is very delicate. You just got to be very careful with this unit. So what I'm going to do now is not for the faint of heart. If you don't trust yourself taking apart things like this, I'd suggest not doing it. Although, I mean, you can get a whole new laser assembly for these for not very much anyway. So, I mean, you're not really, it's not like, oh crap, I just lost $400. But basically, it's underneath this, so you're gonna have to remove this to get to it to clean it. So I'm gonna do that right now. And I will be right back. To do that, basically, all you need to do is remove this one little screw on the right side here. Oops, got a magnet there that pulled it right off my screwdriver. So carefully, just, there we go, got our screw. And now I should be able to remove this. Just very, very carefully. Now, some glue that kind of holds it. So you just want to be careful because there's a ribbon connector right here and you definitely don't want to pull that off. So I'm just going to move that to the side here rather than move it the entire way. But I don't know if you can, yeah, I think you can see it right down there. But you see this blue lens type thing? That is another lens. So we need to clean that. And how I'm going to do that? The usual, a Q-tip and some isopropyl. So get our alcohol opened up here. get a little bit on this Q-tip here. Once again, don't need to douse it, just like I told you before with the GameCube, and then just rub it around, clean it off. Now just get the dry end, do the same, clean it up, get that stuff off there. Now I'm going to I'm going to throw that away. I'm not going to reuse that, and then I'm going to ever so carefully place this back on. Put this screw back in. Remember, there's a magnet there that may suck it off your screwdriver if you're not careful. And just very lightly tighten it. It doesn't need to be torqued down or anything like that. So now I'm just going to go ahead and place this black cover back on. Now I'm going to get another Q-tip. I'm going to clean this other lens. Just ever so carefully, just like with the GameCube lens. Don't be poking this thing with 45,000 foot-pounds of force. Just dry it off with the other end. And there we go. Now may be a good time to use some of that alcohol to clean off these rails. Get this old grease off of here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-lubricate all of these moving parts. So, once again, get out this this stuff that I showed you in the Nintendo 64 controller repair. And I'm just going to get a little bit on here. I mean, you don't need to go crazy with this stuff. All you need is just a little thin layer of it. Just put it on this bar, put it on this bar, a little bit there, there, a little bit on this worm gear. There you go. Now, while we got this out, I'm gonna lube this up too. This is our tray here that I swear, guys, it was making that noise. So basically just get it on this rod here. Move that back and forth. Maybe get a little bit more here. Just make sure you get it all up and down. Throw that away. Now just move it back and forth, back and forth. There we go. That's all you really need to do. I mean, if you having a problem with it ejecting, you may need to remove this screw here. I'll show you the inside of this real quick. And that screw there. And then you can lift this cover off, basically. Come on. There we go. And now you can see inside there, and you can lube up these gears. This may have come off of its track, you know, things like that. Just if you need to make any repairs in here, that's how you get to that. So I'm just going to retighten these screws. And basically, I'm just going to finish cleaning up everything really good because compressed air was just one step. And then we'll get back to the reassembly. So I'm going to hurry and do that. And I will show you guys how to put this thing back together. And hopefully we'll see if this thing will read discs now. But it definitely won't make that farting disc tray noise anymore. Not that it was, because you guys probably don't believe me now. The video made a liar out of me, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and clean those parts up and then be right back. All right, so I've gotten everything pretty much cleaned up, except for the very outside of the casing, which I'll deal with later. You guys have seen me do that before. I don't really need to go into detail, but yeah, like I told you guys, I don't see much of a reason to pull this any further apart than this. And really, it's not designed to be honest with you. In fact, if you see right here, this heat sink, this is riveted on. It's not designed to even come off. So, I mean, these things were not designed to be really repaired much. I think Sony put them together with the intention of, you know, if it breaks, they'll get a new one. But, yeah, so, alright, so got that all cleaned and lubed up. So let's go ahead and just put that back on. So you got this right here, and then you've got these protrusions on the side of the cage here. So you'll just want to get the tray there and just slide it back in, and then go ahead and just drop it down. Oh, whoops. You got one on the back here that you're gonna have to get the back under as well on the left side. And then just go ahead and drop it in. Make sure that this thing is, feels like it's in there. So, gonna go ahead and get our 2 screws, tighten these back down. Now, to try to prevent anything from getting back down in there, you know, any dirt or anything while I'm putting this thing all the way back together, I'm just gonna go ahead and put the top back on with its 4 screws. All right, now I'm just gonna go ahead and put our fan back there and move this over and bring our bottom back in that has been cleaned. And now just carefully drop this whole assembly back in. It may take some finagling to get it in there just right, but there we go. Let's see if we can get this thing finished up. So, excuse me. So next up, I'm going to put the fan header back in. Actually, yeah, we can go ahead and do that. So once again, may take some finagling to get this thing in there right. Let's take a look back here. Aha! Part of the problem is, just pull this stinking thing out the expansion bay cover. Now, try to slide this back in. Alright, and that is in there where it's supposed to be. And you can drop the fan back down in here. And go ahead and put the screw back in. Get a better size screwdriver for that. There we go. Alright, and don't forget that you've got this one that you've got to put back in. It goes under where the power slides down in there. And you can put this back in. Now put this screw back in right here. Now we put our controller ports back on. Now remember, this connector flips up, and the cable will just insert into the connector there, and then just push the plastic piece down, and that locks the cable in place. And let's go ahead and get the cable tuck it back in there. And go ahead and screws back in. Tight. Alright, and I'm not gonna quite put that back on yet. So, need to get our top cover here and put our memory card pieces back in. Come on, just slide back. There we go. They slide back in nice and easy. Sometimes. There we go. And don't forget, you got to put this part back in. Which I probably could have done a better job of cleaning it up, but honestly, this thing is just going to be spare parts for me. Don't plan on selling it or anything like that. It's just going to be in case mine needs any parts down the road. So just go ahead and tighten up this screw. Now we're going to get our top cover like this and go ahead and just get this power and the eject button back where they're supposed to go. Might help if I were putting them in the right way. There we go. Now, just bring this back, slide it on. There we go. Now the top is back on. All we gotta do is just put these screws back in. So remember, these long screws go in here. And the short screws go here on this side. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get these screws put back in and tightened up, and I will be right back. All right, so we got our screws back in and our screw covers put back in. Just remember the rubber ones go here. And last thing, just go ahead and put, the expansion cover back in. And we are ready to go. Yeah, it still kind of looks like crap. And if it does manage to read CDs, I'll probably clean it up even more on the outside here. But yeah, go ahead and I will take the camera off the mount here and put it in my game room. And let's see if this thing loads up a game. So, be right back. Hey everybody, welcome back to my game room. And I got this PlayStation 2 hooked up here. And we're gonna test it out, see if this thing will read a disc. So, yeah, go ahead and put this in. Yeah, did that before. Let's see if it will actually read. Oh, it is making more noise than it was before. Yeah. Give me a title screen. There you have it. A little cleaning, it works again. So, yeah. $12 is what I paid for that thing. And hope this video was helpful for you. If you got any questions, go ahead and just leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to help you guys out with anything else with this, but that is basically how you disassemble and reassemble your PlayStation 2, clean it up, and hopefully that'll help you guys get your PlayStation 2s working again. And and running nice and smooth. So yeah, I will see you guys with the next video. Thanks for tuning in.